Hey there, this is Akshay Madan and welcome back to a new video, and this video is going to be interesting because this video is for ultimate beginners in the backend field. So if you are new in backend and you want to excel in backend, then this video is for you. So in this video we are going to create one single simple server. So it's not like that I'm just going to teach you a hello world, hey hello world API, right? It's not like that. We are yes going to start with hello world, but at the end I'm also going to teach you how to create an advanced project structure which is accepted by the companies, which is standard project structure, right? Then we are going to see calculator API. So we are going to make an API for calculator. So all the major functions, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, are going to be there in that API. So yes, this video is going to be for ultimate beginners, but if you are new, this video is more than enough for you to get some grasp of backend, how that works, especially the Node.js, and how to actually start writing the code, right? And before we move forward, I am very happy to announce that my course that is on full stack mobile app development is also out. So if you want to learn not only just TypeScript, but you also want to make apps, and then you want to become a full stack developer, Flutter, Node.js, Express.js, TypeScript, MongoDB, Render, Postman, everything, this all things that I just mentioned, they are taught in this course, right? So if you want to just check it out, just check it out. So this course is just for full stack developer enthusiasts who just want to excel in full stack development. Okay, so I hope that you will check it out. But now let's get ahead and let's start with this main video, right? So first of all, before watching this video, so in this video I'm mostly going to cover the practical concept, right? How to actually start writing the code in Node.js Express.js to build a web server. But if you want to know the basics of how backend works, then I would recommend you to watch this video, HTTP Start Your Backend Journey, this video. I'll put the link in the description, right? So this video is important for you to understand the basics of backend. And in this video, we are going to, yes, touch the basics, but little bit. Most of the basics are already covered in that video. Okay, so this is about theory video. Now let's see the client server architecture, right? So in client server architecture, what happens is, you already know that whenever a software is built, there are two main components, sometimes three, sometimes four, but mainly there are two types of components. One is your client side, right? A client side can be your mobile app, right? It can be your web app, it can be your desktop app, right? It can even be your smartwatch app, right? So this client device can be anything, right? This can be a mobile app, this can be web app, desktop app, smartwatch app, anything this client can be, right? So this is the thing which is like the skin of your software, like your users can actually touch it, feel it, right? This is the screen which the user sees. Let's say you are building Amazon.com, then the app and the website of Amazon is called the client side or the front end, right? Then here comes the back end. And for building client side, there are a lot of tech stacks, right? You can build mobile app in Flutter, React Native, Ionic, Cordova, web app React. Then like a lot of tech stacks are there for that. Also, desktop also can be built in Flutter. Smartwatch app can be built in Flutter, right? So all of these are client side technologies. For server side or for the backend, you can. So let me write it down. This is your server side, and this can be built in Node.js, Express.js, Django, Flask, Ruby, Spring Boot, Golang. A lot of languages are there for server side also. Okay, what happens is this client creates a request to the server, right? Creates a request to the server for a particular resource. Let's say, hey, I want to fetch all the products in the Amazon. So this is a request, right? So client gives a request to the server. Server returns the response, right? So what server does is, server says, okay, you want where my diagram went? So this is the response. Now server says, okay, you want all the products, that's a request. Server will go to the database, right? So over here we also have one database, and server goes to database and asks the database to give all the products, right? Then database gives all the products to server, and server gives you the response back. That is a list of products. So this is how client server architecture works. We are not going to talk about client side in this video. We are going to talk about the server side, how to build your own backend server. Okay. Now let's get ahead and let's delete all of this. right? So let's get ahead and let's build our server. So let me just delete all of this. And now installing the packages. So how to install packages? So first of all, you should have Node.js in your system, right? So go to nodejs.org, download Node.js, just click next, install, your Node.js will be installed, right? And to validate whether you have installed Node.js correctly, just open command prompt or your terminal and just say node version. Okay, my spelling is wrong. Version. So if you see the version, that means Node.js is installed correctly. So once you have installed Node.js, then we have to create. So what we have done is we have client server installing packages. So yes, now we have to install the packages, but now we have installed Node.js first of all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an empty folder in desktop or anywhere you want, and there inside that package, inside that folder, we are going to first of all initialize the node project, and then we are going to install the required packages. So let me do that. So you can see that I have created a calc folder over here, and you can just open command prompt or terminal in this location, right? And I'll just say code dot. So this is going to open the Visual Studio Code in this folder, right? At this location. So now what I have to do is this is all empty. Nothing is there inside this folder. And directly over here, I'm going to say npm init-y. Right? So this is all good. And you can see that one package.json file is created over here. Right? So let's keep it for now. And next thing that I have to do is I have to run one more command. npm install --save -dev TypeScript, because we are going to build our server in TypeScript. So this is the command, that means we are installing TypeScript. So I'll hit enter, and this is going to run for some time, and you can see that few more files have been created over here, right? So now you can see these folders are created. Now I'm going to create one file over here that will be called tsconfig.json, and over here I'm going to paste some code. So this is the same code that you also have to paste. And this output directory, I don't want to call it dist, I want to call it build. You can call it anything, right? So most of the times it is called dist or it is called build, right? So these are the initialization steps. Now we have initialized the TypeScript into our Node.js project, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one folder called src, right? Inside this src, I'm going to create one file called index.ts. And over here, I'm going to write down one simple code, console.log hello world, right? This is a simple TypeScript code. Now what I want to do is, in my package.json, what I've done is, now you can see that in the scripts, there is only test command, right? And my main is index.js. That means the index.js will be the command that is going to start my server. So what happens is when you build your servers or when you build an application, Node.js application in TypeScript, so here is your code file that is written in TypeScript, right? TypeScript. So what happens is the compiler won't understand TypeScript, right? It only understands JavaScript. So that's why this TypeScript needs to be converted to JavaScript, right? So browsers also understand the JavaScript only. So we have to convert this TypeScript into JavaScript. So that's what we are going to do right now, and for that also there is a command. So what I want is whenever I start my server, my Node.js server, that means I have to say whenever I start my server, so this is also key, you cannot change it, right? Then you have to run a command ts-node source, that means go inside source and the index.ts file. So basically what I am saying is whenever I start my server, I want to go inside the source folder and run my index.ts file, right? And this is a command to start my server. Now to build my server, right? To build your server, building means converting TypeScript to JavaScript, right? So tsc is the command which is going to go inside your folder, every file, and whatever in which order it finds out, it is going to convert your TypeScript code into JavaScript code. So, and yes, this is the command for that. Whenever you run tsc in a folder, it will find out all the TypeScript files and convert all the TypeScript files into JavaScript files. So we are good to go. And if I just say hit command Control S, we are good to go. And if I just say over here npm install, and then I say npm, and then I want to build. So the build command is npm run build, right? So it has converted all my TypeScript files into JavaScript files. So what I can see over here, you can see index.js file. This is the file which I did not create. It has only created it, right? Now one problem is there, that is it has created the index.js file here itself. So if I have like 100 files in this source folder, then all the 100 JS files will also be over here, right? And this is also going to give you issues when you try to deploy your server, because when you deploy your server, the platform is going to find out a build folder or a dist folder, right? So I want all of these JavaScript files in my build folder itself. So go to tsconfig.json and write down ./build. Now if I just delete this index.js file, right, and hit a command Control S and again run npm run build, then you see it has created a build folder, and inside this I am having my index.js file, right? So this is good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a server, and for creating this server I need two packages. One is express package, that is express library, and I need the http library. So now I have to install some of the packages, right? So either you can go on npm.dev, npm.com, npmjs.com, and you can search for your packages. Let's say I want to search for express, right? So I can search for express, and you can see this package express, and you can say you can copy this npmi express and you can run it over here, or you can directly define your packages in the dependencies file also. Let's say, because here we don't just want the express dependency, we also want its related types, right? So first of all, to download express, I'll say at types, which type you want express, right? Then we also going to need the course package. Why we need a course package, I'll just tell you. So at types/course package, then you are going to need express, and then you are going to need http, right? These are the two packages that we need, right? And over here we have to define their versions. So type/express, the latest version that is there is 4.17.21. Yes, this is right. For course, the latest version is 2.8.12. Yes, this is the right one. For express, we have 4.17.1, and for http we have 0.0 security. Yes, correct. So these are the four packages that we are going to need right now. After that, yes, we need some more packages, but for now these four are enough. And let me just format this file. Okay, let it be, and just run npm install. If you will not run npm install, these packages won't be installed. Okay, this is done. Now over here what I have to do is I have to create a server. So in this you have this index.ts file, and before that let's also understand the project structure, right? So what happens is whenever a request comes to our server, it first of all enters the server. So this is my whole server, right? Let me take it over here. This is my whole server. So first what happens is my request enters the server, and first of all it reaches the routes, the particular endpoint route, right? So route can be, let's say /hello world, right? Or it can be /get products, right? These are just your paths, right? These are just your paths. So these are what routes are, right? These are what your routes are. As soon as the request goes inside the route, then the route finds out the correct controller function, right? It finds out the correct controller function. The controller function has the capability to get the request and return the response. In between, whatever is going to happen, they can either be taken care of by the repository. So I'll say either be taken care of by the repository. So basically this should go away and this repository should come over here. Or sometimes we either need to call a service function, right? And so what is happening here? The request enters the route. The route says, okay, this is the endpoint and this should be the right controller function. Controller function says, okay, for this task I need the help of a repository, or for this task I need the help of a service function, right? Help means, let's say you want to fetch some database documents, right? Then you will go to repository. Second case can be, let's say you have got a PDF and you want to just find out all the text in that PDF. So that's a service. It will go to service. As soon as the controller function receives the correct response data and it has prepared it, it returns the response back to the client. So something like this, right? The response goes back to the client. So this is what we have to create. So what I'll do is, over here in my source folder, I'm going to create a folder for routes. I'm going to create a folder for controllers. I'm going to create a folder for repositories. And I'm going to create a folder for services. Guys, everything that I'm teaching here, I've also taught in my course, right? I've also taught this in my course. There it is in more detail and it is related to the project that we are building there, Tweets application we are building there. So that's why there it is in more detail. Here I'm just giving you the overview, right? Okay, so these are the 4 folders, but first of all, let's create the simple server. Okay, so in index.ts file, what is going to happen? First of all, I'm going to import express. So import star as express from express package. Then I have to import body parser. So this is also one of the package that we need. So I'll just go over here and in the dependencies, I'm just going to define body dash parser and just put a comma here and remove it from here. Okay. Now I'll again run npm install because we have added a package. Okay, good. Now come back to index.ts file, and over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a server. So to create a server, you just have to say constant app is equal to express. So my app variable is going to hold a server of what type? Express type. Constant app is express. Then I'm going to say this express server, that is app, should use body parser so that I can return my responses in JSON and I can also read my request in JSON format, right? Then after that, what I have to do is I have to listen to my server or listen to a port. So my server will be running on a port, right? So for that, and before that, I'll just create a route. So you can see app.get. That means whenever I hit my server endpoint on the root level, I should get a response of hello world. So it takes a request, it returns a response like this. So REQ means request, RES means response, and returns response.send hello world. That means send means return the response back, right? And then I would say app.listen 3000. That means my server or my app server should listen on port 3000. So by default also NodeJS applications run on port 3000 only. Okay, so this is all good, and I will just so I've solved this express issue also. We just had to import the express like this, not the way we were doing, right? So this is all good, and now to run this, what I have to do is npm run dev, npm run dev. Okay, I have not defined my dev command, so what I'll do is in my package.json, I will also define my dev command. So I'll just go up and over here I'll define my dev command. My dev command should be a TSC. So first of all, you have to convert all your TypeScript code into JavaScript code, and then you have to start your server. So it will be node build / index.js, right? So this node command, node index.js file actually starts, it runs the JS file, right? So, and this command converts your TypeScript code into JavaScript code. Okay, so let's just hit enter, npm install, and then run npm run dev. You see, server is running on port 3000. So I'll just go to my code and just say localhost 3000, and you see hello world. Beautiful, right? You see the response back. If I just go back in my index.ts file and this I can make a JSON also. So if I just remove it and say my data should be hello world, this, and rerun your server, and now if I go back, you see hello world, right? So this is how your servers work, and we are getting our proper responses back. Now what we have to do is I'll define my route folder, right? So in my route folder, I have one routes.ts file, and then I'll have separate routes folder for different routes. So let's say calculator routes. It should not be folder actually, a file is enough. So I'll just delete this, and I'll have not a folder, calculator dot routes dot ts. Okay, so first of all, in your routes folder you have to import a router, right? So import a router, right? This is a class which is present in Express, right? Then you have to define your router variable, and then you have to say, hey, router dot use the endpoint. So my endpoint is going to be calc, and then for this calculator task, I'm going to define one more router inside this. So inside this file, define one more import router first of all, and then define a constant calc router, right? And over here you have to see calc router dot get, something like that, right? So over here I'll tell you what is happening in routes. Just define your calc router, you have to export also. So export default calc router, right? And over here what I'm going to do, I'm going to say calc router. In my course videos, what I've done, we have created tweets application, so it was tweets router, right? So what is happening, guys? So, and in my index.ts file also, I'm going to do one thing. That means my app now should not just listen to this API. My app should actually use the routes.ts file. So what I'll say, app.use on the root, use my router. I have to export here also, export default router, and index.ts you can say router. Perfect. So now what is going to happen, whenever I hit this endpoint root, it will be redirected to the router. Go inside router. Inside the router, if you hit calc, so localhost 3000/calc, it will be redirected to calc router. Go inside it, and over here if I just hit my root, then hello world. Okay, let's test it once. So, and run npm run dev 3000, go over here 3000/calc. You see, I'm getting hello world. Perfect. So this is also working. Now we have created the routes, we have created our index.ts file. Now we have to create a controller function. So I'll just say calc.controller.ts file, and this is going to have certain functions. So export addition route controller, So this function is going to add the two numbers, right? So it is going to take request, response, and I also have to import request and response from Express. Request and response also. Okay, and yeah, export addition. Okay, yeah, this will be something like this, and this will be something like this. Okay, so this is all good. Export addition controller. I think we don't need is equal to. Okay, yeah, export constant. Yes, this is all good. Perfect. Now inside this we have to have a try catch block. The try catch block, what it will do is it will first going to see the numbers, right? So we can pass. So everything is covered in my course also. Everything is covered in my theory video also, right? So it's not like that I'm just showing you the code. The theory is covered in the free video also, HTTP video, which I told you about, right? So first of all, I have to get the numbers from my body. So constant num1 comma num2. So two numbers I'll be passing is equal to request dot body. How to pass it I'll show, and this should actually return, and yes, so this should actually return response dot status 200 JSON, and it should be returning num1 plus num2. So see here what I did, here I have put all my application logic also in controller function itself, but this should be avoided. This part has to go in repository or in the service. So we'll do that, but let's first do this thing. Okay, and over here I have to first of all log my error, and then I'll say 500, that means internal server error, and return a JSON with a message internal server error, right? Format, what is the issue? Something is wrong. Export constant, what it needs. Oh, okay, yeah. Perfect. Now hit format, and you see addition controller function is ready. Similarly, I'm going to control C, control V, and control V, right? If I have subtraction controller, if my routes if my routes call the subtraction controller, then what I'll be doing, I'll be just making it minus. So this is going to subtract the APIs, right? Then similarly over here, product controller, right? And yes guys, I'm just teaching you the basic APIs, but feel free to make them more complex as per your own requirement. And this will be division, right? And you can make it, I'm not handling any exception, or I'm not handling any, like if this num2 is 0 or not handling this all you can handle, right? Okay, perfect. Now what I have to do is I'll create 4 routes, right? This all will be gone. calc router dot post. Why post? Can somebody tell me in the comment section why post? And yes guys, if you want to learn TypeScript from the scratch, beginner to advanced, write in the comment section interested, and if I get 20 comments, I'll directly make a free course on TypeScript, beginner to advanced, right? So this is the post request, and this request should come on /add, right? And if this comes, I have to call which function? Addition controller function, right? Similarly, 3 more routes. This will be sub, that means subtraction. This will be pro, means product. This will be div, means division. And for this I'm going to call subtraction controller. For this I'll call product controller, and for this I'll call division controller. Okay, now let's test it. Now we won't be able to test on the browser, so you can use Visual Studio Code Thunder Client. So it's just an extension. You can search in the extension Thunder Client, or you can also feel free to use Postman. In my course we have used Postman, right? So let's just again run the server, npm run dev. Oh sorry, this will be npm run dev. Again sorry, yes. Okay, now open Thunder Client and create a new request, and my request will go to http localhost 3000 /calc/add, right? And body is going to be 2 numbers. So num1 is going to be 2, and num2 is going to be 3, right? And this type will be post request, right? Because you have to pass the data to a server. Save, send, and you see where is my response? I have to just hide it. You see data is 5. So that means addition is working perfectly. Now if I try on subtraction and hit send, you see -1. If I see product, perfect. And if I see division, perfect guys. So our APIs are working. Now what you have to do, you have to write your logic in the repository or in the service file. So I'll just create a repository, and I'll call it calc.repo.ts. And over here I'm going to have the main logical things. So that I'm just trying to keep the things standard, because in companies they expect all of these things that you should know. So export constant addition repo, and this should accept 2 numbers, so num1 and num2, and this is going to return the addition of 2 numbers or internal server error, right? So I'll just say equal to, and this is ready. Similarly, I'll write down the logics for subtraction and division also. So this is going to be division repository. So basically everything is same that we did in controller, but it is more abstracted now. Our logical layer is different from the controller layer, right? So this will become by, and this is going to become pro, and this is going to become multiply. Where is the sign? Yeah, multiply, and then this is going to become subtraction, and this will become minus, right? Now you can go to your controller function, and instead of doing the logical thing here itself, you have to say constant r response, or you can say math, something like that, any variable. Math is equal to addition repository, right? And pass num1 and num2, and whatever data you get, you give it in the response, right? The same thing you have to do everywhere. So let's do it here. Constant maths is equal to subtraction repository, and you will just import it, and this is going to change to data will be maths. Similarly, if I just do for this one, constant maths is equal to not this, it will be product repository num1 and num2, and the data is going to be maths. Perfect. And for this also, constant maths is equal to division repository num1 and num2, and this will be data will be maths. Perfect, guys. So here comes the end of this video. What we have done is, now I just do a simple revision. First of all, in the index.ts, we have created an express server. We have defined body parser so that I can use JSON in the request and the response, and then I switched on my server, right? After that, I went to routes. I have created one router which is only for the calculator feature. If you have 100 features, create 100 routes. This is redirected to calc router, and we have 4 main endpoints inside this router. All of them are using post endpoint. So just go in the feature, and then my controller receives a request, and it has to return a response, which it is doing perfectly. For any logical part, we have created a repository function. Just go in the repository and see the logic, right? And in my course, what I did, instead of the calculator, we have created tweets application where we get the data, the tweets data in the request, and then we were saving it in the MongoDB. So in my index.ts, I was connecting to my MongoDB. You can check out the course curriculum, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more concepts in backend, write down interested. If you want to learn TypeScript from the beginner stage to the advanced stage, write down interested. If you want to make AI applications and you want to learn to build AI applications in Flutter, mobile app development, in web development, write down interested. Anything you want to learn, just let me know. I'll create a video on that. So till the next video, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.